So Bud Light is in the midst of a bloodbath. It's a bloodbath for Bud Light in the wake of its ridiculous marketing person's decision to expand the brand by catering to a segment of the population that is less than 0.01%. They've completely abandoned their actual core base of buyers. And Fox Business has an article posted right now talking about, they went out and spoke to various distributors, various bars, various restaurants, and so on. Consumers nationwide revolted is their headline after this bloodbath against the nation's top-selling beer brand after it stepped recklessly into the culture wars last week with its new spokesperson, TikTok star Dylan Mulvaney. For those not paying attention, this is what happened. This new Bud Light marketing executive, this woke, young Harvard grad, decided to completely change the face of Bud Light by creating Bud Light cans to celebrate trans activist Dylan Mulvaney, who's somehow managed to become the face of womanhood, even though Dylan has a penis. They talked to bar owners and beer industry experts talking about how, I'll just give you some examples. Filter's Bar was one of them it's in Missouri. And Bud Light, Anheuser-Busch is headquartered in St. Louis. Catastrophic decrease in sales. 30% in bottle products down over the past week. Drought beer plummeting 50%. Similar stories around the country. Bud Light normally outsells rival products Miller Lite and Coors Light 25-1 at the Braintree Brewhouse in Massachusetts. Not this week. 80% of Bud Light drinkers ordered something else. The owner says the 20% who did order Bud Light were not on social media and hadn't heard about the new transgender pitch person. They didn't order it again after they found out. One pub in Hell's Kitchen, a New York City neighborhood known for its large and vocal gay community, reported Bud Light draft sales dropped 58% this week. Bud Light bottle sales were down 70%. Down in Texas, where Bud Light has sponsored a large weekly dart league with 100-plus players each Thursday night, the bar, which typically sells 3 kegs of Bud Light at the event, sold a total of 4 bottles this week. 4. Okay, and I could go on. I mean, they continue going across from person to person. So before I play the pitch person on this podcast talking about her brilliant plan, I feel this is a really empowering moment, Emily. I feel like, great! Finally the go woke, go broke thing is working. And the question is whether they will learn, Bud Light and other brands.
And it depends on their strategy, because sometimes their strategy is they know there is a slice of the population that loves this stuff. You saw this with Nike and Colin Kaepernick. There's a huge swath of the country that absolutely despises what Nike did with Colin Kaepernick. But because there's a small group of people that they could create a very loyal fan base out of, the Colin Kaepernick stuff kind of worked for them. They actually saw sales increase as part of that. Now, they have different fan bases, of course, than Bud Light. It's a really broad company, and Bud Light is too. But for the most part, Bud Light drinkers are probably more similar than the Nike demographic. And so is Bud Light's strategy to spend this much so that it gets favorable ratings on DEI, ESG scores, that it'll allow it to get better investments? Do they even care if they take a hit in business over a month? Of course, they should care, and their people who invest in them should absolutely care. But at this point, do executives see themselves as people who can sacrifice a tiny bit for the activism that allows themselves to show their faces at the Manhattan cocktail party circuit? That's actually an open question, because we've seen companies in the past spend a ton of money just to do DEI PR pushes. They might not even believe in any of it, but that's the strategy. It's like advertising, and it's this sort of personal penance. It's this personal thing that they're paying to feel good and to feel like they're virtue signaling, and they've bought themselves that virtue signal. So I wonder how much the executives at Bud Light care about these really stark numbers that you just outlined. I hope they do. People who are invested in them.
This is not going to be like the Nike. I don't think, Eliana. This is not going to. Bud Light doesn't know who its audience is. They don't know who their consumers are. These guys at the NFL football games who are ordering Bud Light en masse at the, as they watch the Sunday game, the guys who are playing darts down in Texas, you've seen the videos online. They're renting out bulldozers and excavators to roll over huge cases of Bud Light that people are throwing out. Nike, it's a trickier situation because Nike has a large fan base, a large athletic fan base, a lot of Black people, and that resonance, that message from Colin Kaepernick may have resonated with them. Okay, so I can see how that they took a bet that one paid off. That there is not a huge base drinking Bud Light that wants to see Dylan Mulvaney celebrated. It's a shot, and a miss.
I'm with you on that, Megyn. The closest analogy I could come up with is when a primary campaign ends and the candidate needs to pivot to the general. If you listen to the Bud Light marketing director talk, she essentially said, we need to broaden the reach and the appeal of this brand beyond our core users. Well, any political candidate would know, you can pivot to the center, but you can't lose the primary voters who backed you. You gotta keep your base if you want to pivot. Otherwise, the pivot is pointless and you come out behind. You're going to lose that election. And I think the same is true here. You could pivot to the transgenders. You're going to lose your core base, who are not a huge fan of that sort of thing.
Right, exactly, right? Especially right now, and especially with this nasty woman's messaging about how shitty Bud Light's existing base of customers is. She doesn't like the people who buy their beer. She shouldn't work for Bud Light. She should take her story walking and go work for a woke corporation instead of ruining the one that employs her. There was another guy who was the chief marketing executive there for 43 years who got it. He understood who the customer base is. Then for some reason, he either retired or quit or got fired. I don't know what happened to him. But they brought in this woman, Alyssa Heinerscheid, who is now the VP of marketing, who said they really needed to update their fratty and out-of-touch branding with inclusivity. Here she was 3 days before the Dylan Mulvaney thing launched, before anybody had seen it, and she still thought it was safe for her to do podcasts and say what she really thought. She apparently didn't see the shitstorm that was about to rain down on her and her brand thanks to her stupid marketing campaign. Listen to her.
So I had this super clear mandate. It's like we need to evolve and elevate this incredibly iconic brand. And what I brought to that was a belief in, okay, what does evolve and elevate mean? It means inclusivity. You've got to see people who reflect you in the work. And we had this hangover. I mean, Bud Light had been kind of a brand of fratty, kind of out of touch humor. And it was really important that we had another approach. So
she went this way and went on to say it's essential that the brand attract more female and younger drinkers. Otherwise, there will be no future for Bud Light. Because this, Eliana, is what she thinks women will support. That women want a fake pretend woman who mocks us at every video Dylan Mulvaney releases to be the face of our beer. That's her understanding of what women want.
There is something I think really offensive about saying that this transgender person, Dylan Mulvaney, who is an adult man, is a spokesperson for women, will appeal to women, and I do think like there is a social stigma against saying that because you're accused of transphobia, but it is wrong for adult men to take the place of speaking on behalf of and marketing to women.
Like many people, I am eating healthier these days, and that is why I love good olive oil. And by good, I mean fresh. Olive oil packs the most flavor and healthiest nutrients when it's fresh from the farm. And that's the problem with supermarket olive oils. They're not fresh. They can sit on the shelf for many months growing stale. That's why I like my olive oil direct from small, award-winning farms, thanks to a guy named TJ Robinson, also known as the olive oil hunter. When I first tasted TJ's farm fresh oils, I fell in love with their vibrant flavors. They are delicious on salad, veggies, pasta, meat, fish, you name it. You got to try it. Try it out for yourself. Put my word to the test. As an introduction to his fresh pressed olive oil club, TJ's willing to send you a full-size $39 bottle of one of the world's finest artisanal olive oils for just $1 to help him cover shipping. Best of all, there's never a commitment to buy anything, and you can cancel your membership at any time. Get your free $39 bottle for just $1 shipping and taste the difference freshness makes. Go to harvestfreshnow.com. harvestfreshnow.com for a free bottle and pay just $1 in shipping. harvestfreshnow.com. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.